When you tell me to go.
Okay, go ahead.
Wow.
Tight. So, Sober Investor, we're going live on YouTube and also, what are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram.
On Instagram. So, we're going to talk about some things, talk about what you got going on, answer some questions. If people can hear me, which you might not be able to, feel free to ask questions for the Sober Investor. But until then, we're going to top it up. What do you got going on, Patrick? What have you been doing the last couple of weeks? I know you just traveled recently.
Yeah, what's going on, guys, out there? I'm answering questions live. If you guys have any questions on any type of group homes or sober livings or any type of specialized housing, please give me your questions. Stick around. Shooting content, trying to chop it up. We're live on YouTube, live on Instagram. Give us your questions, please. So yes, I just got back from Texas. One of my companies, we're going nationwide, doing different types of group homes, licensed, unlicensed, boarding room, veteran, kids aging out of foster care homes, all of these different types of housing, and it's going amazing. I was out in Texas just to iron everything out with my business partners, look at a couple of different properties, and we toured a bunch of different types of facilities. We went to a few homeless shelters, we went to the VA hospital, talked to a whole bunch of people at the VA. We talked to HUD. We went to a couple behavioral health places, some sober livings. We're just trying to get a gist of what the need is, what do they need the most right now, what is out there as far as grants, government funding, and housing in certain areas, and seeing what the need was. We had made some amazing connections with the VA, a couple of huge programs, and there is such a need right now for housing. There's a bunch of grants that are out there. The government is just pumping money into homeless initiatives, foster, you name it. Affordable housing is definitely something that's going to be more prevalent. I mean, it's a huge need now, but just with interest rates and rents going up and all of these different things, there's going to be a huge need for all types of specialized housing, affordable housing, co-living, group homes, and everything in between. So I'm excited. We're JVing and partnering nationwide, and we're looking at a bunch of opportunities. My business partner was just out in Florida, and he got so much love, and there's so much need. So I'm excited for it. Let's see. We got a question. I want to get into the group home space, but I don't know where to start. Is there a course or a person on YouTube you would recommend to look at starting at to get the basics down? Group homes, man. I don't follow anybody in particular. I just search different just different needs, man. Group homes, I always tell people they need to find their purpose and find their why, find their passion, and then go after it. Like I tell people, if there's a nonprofit out there for said thing, there's probably a need for housing, and there's so many different directions you can go. Just to say group homes it's just a very blanketed statement, because there's so many types of different group homes out there. But you can follow me. Follow me. Tips, tricks. We have a course coming out. I am going to start, while that course is being built, we're going to be doing I'm going to be doing coaching. I'm going to try to get enough people that are interested in a mentoring or a coaching, and get everybody together, and while the course is being built.
What can people expect from those courses? Like, how do you think those are going to go?
The courses, it's going to be everything that you need to get started in the group home space. It's going to give you the general information of how to get a home, how to get a home, how to set the home up, how to look for the regulations, how to pass inspections, systems, procedures, the software that we're using. Everything that's going to give you a crash course to be able to open up your own home and to be able to give support and build a community of like-minded people that are out there trying to help the community. I have a question on here. It says, I'm about to start one. I'm the property owner and will have 13 beds in 7 bedrooms. How should I vet the group home operator? There's a list of questions, man. What state are you in? From Houston. Is the house in Houston? Where is the house located? But to vet the group home operators, man, just ask them questions. How long have they been in business? Take a look at their policies and procedures. Take a look at their rules. See if they have any references. A lot of people are just starting out in this business. So you want to make sure that you're dealing with somebody that is professional, making sure that they have a business plan, they have a goal in mind, that they have funds. I would ask for a proof of funds to make sure that they're able to pay you for a good period of time. A lot of operators out there, though, they're just starting out, and this is going to be their first home. My first home, I borrowed money, had no money in the bank, borrowed money, and rolled the dice on it. So it's depending on what your risk tolerance is. But yeah, definitely see references, how long they have been in business, what is their business plan, what demographic are they going after, how are they going after this demographic, how are they going to be supervising, how are they going to be managing. And you can reach out to me. We're always looking for more homes. And if you're in Texas, what is he from? REI from Houston. Where is this property at? Maybe we can partner or do something together. Guys, please ask your questions. There is no such thing as a dumb question. If you have anything for sober livings, group homes, I've done all different types, commercial, residential, licensed, unlicensed. I'm here to help. The home is in Pasadena, Texas. Texas is massive. I am highly focused on Texas right now. I'm not sure what part Pasadena is. I'm in Colorado Springs. That's actually where I was born, Colorado Springs. All right. Ask your questions, guys.
What is the ideal JV partner for you?
Ideal JV partner. So right now, as you can imagine, my name is out there. We're partnering nationwide, and I have a bunch of people that with my real estate community, they just want to be landlords and have me do everything and still split the profit. We're down to do that. But again, if I get 100 messages and there's people that are willing to operate, be boots on the ground, they're going to go towards the top. So ideal candidate is somebody who knows the area, knows some of the organizations. They have a game plan and they just need help either finding the house. They might need help with capital, but they're willing to do the operations part. I can't be in all 50 states at the same time. And with us going this wide and this broad and this fast, we want more operators that have the capital up front. They're ready to go, and they just want us to come in, give guidance, and action takers, man. There's a bunch of people that are analysis paralysis and do their YouTube university, and they have all of the things in front of them to start from the very beginning, but yet they're still hesitant. So we need doers, we need action takers, we need boots on the ground that has capital. It's preferably somebody who has a home already and that just wants to learn the business. Pasadena is south of Houston, Texas. Great Houston area. Is that by Spring, Texas, by chance? How much is coaching mentorship? We haven't set prices yet, guys. Again, I don't like doing like the one-on-one coaching, and I do have a coaching course coming out. If I have enough people that are interested in coaching, I can put together all of us together and do some mentoring coaching, and we will come up with a price pretty soon. Did my message get removed? I sent you a message. I'm working on a home in South Carolina. I have a good friend of mine that I am helping currently in South Carolina, North Carolina, and it's definitely a good area, depending on what type of housing that you are going to be doing. Like to learn the business and be like you. Oh, you don't want to be like me, man. My world's crazy. But no, definitely helping people. Again, it's the best of both worlds, guys. Real estate's cool and all, but passive income really comes from businesses. And when you can incorporate the two, then it's a win-win. It's the best of both worlds, and you're helping people. You're helping not just that person. It's the ripple effect. It's their family, their brothers, their sisters, the people around them, and it's just an amazing thing. List sober living. Sober living, what did I just read out there? Sober living in South Carolina. I don't know off the top of my head without the computer in front of me, but sober living to me is the easiest way of entry, just because I come from that world. I am sober, and I have a large network of people. Do you need, oh no, is that going to Sober Investor, the verification code? Is 1 hour north of Pasadena. Houston is in between. Okay. Houston, I have a huge community in Houston. What we are creating currently, guys, is it's a software that is going to be amazing, and it's going to connect a lot of landlords and a lot of operators together to make it easier. So Mr. Reap from Houston, I have a lot of operators in Houston that are always looking for property. So I could probably definitely connect you with that. And super coaching, you would go about learning the business. You are a passionate like myself. If I can't find the mentorship or coaching, how would you go about learning the business if I were a passionate beginner like myself? So again, how I learned the business, guys, I'm sober myself, and I went through detox, I went through inpatient, I went through outpatient, I went through the sober livings, I lived it, I breathed it, I went through it, and a lot of people who get sober stay in the industry. It's just they want to give back, and that's just where they're at. So nobody in this industry was willing to give me any information, so I pretty much said, F you, I'm going to figure this out on my own, and I just did a bunch of research, man, just searching sober living, regulations, laws, zoning, occupancy, all these different things. What's up? I just met your guy. There we go. See, my business partner that I was talking about that was just in Florida is Mr. The one and only Don Rich, man. And we were on a phone call yesterday, and he freaking went. He was so excited about how many people showed up to the meetups, and how many people that are passionate, wanting to learn, and all of the opportunity that is out there. So I'm really looking forward to Florida. Yes, please connect me. I have a few properties. Oh, that's Mr. Houston. Location needs more group housing. So it's kind of hard to find out to see if an area needs more. Some people list it on, depending on the type of housing, they might list it like on Google or something like that. But here in Arizona and a few other cities, people who are in sober livings, group homes, and stuff like that, it's a protected class, and you're not supposed to give the address of where said sober living is or group home is, but people, they go against that all the time. But you can look in your area to see, look up sober livings near me, or look up homeless housing near me, or veteran housing near me, and you could see. But there's, when I see a lot in that area, that's a good sign to me, because that means there's a need. So I start calling those places around me, seeing if they're completely full, if they have a waiting list, how much do they charge, what do they offer, what are you seeing, and getting as much information as possible from the people that are next to you. Ooh, Brandon, congrats, man. Almost 10 years, man. No fronts. Today, or this year, I celebrated my 10 years on Father's Day. It was such an amazing experience to be Father's Day and my 10 years. It was freaking amazing. What's up? When's the next meetup? We were just talking about that. The Asian realtor was just here, man. She has dropped off some delicious donuts that we're going to be giving out. The next one is not the 6th, but what's the date? Well, I'm not going to announce it yet. So it might be the 6th or the week after the 6th. 20th? 13th. I was like, whoa. We're probably shooting for the 6th or the 13th. Guys, I'm asking questions. We're shooting content. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Instagram. Group homes, sober living homes, real estate, whatever you guys want to ask, please do. There's a lot of money out there, a lot of grants, a lot of cool opportunities. If you guys have multifamily properties, right? No, scam likely. Shoot. Oh, and we're back. Sorry, phone call.
What do you think is the best way that someone can add value to their company or brand in the fastest way possible?
To add value. Best way to add value to your brand. Invest in your brand, man. Doing like what we're doing here. I know I should be doing more of it. I know you tell me all the time, but utilize the free marketing that is out there, guys. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can sit here, record, chop it up, and do an amazing things. Put your brand out there, man. Do all of this free marketing and get some traction going from this. And then invest in your brand, invest in yourself first, man, and invest in the knowledge, and definitely hiring the right people. But for your personal brand, just start now, guys. Just get behind the camera, chop it up, post some stuff, be genuine. Me in the beginning still sometimes. It took me 30 times before I liked a video and would actually freaking post it. So the other day, or I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, I was building forts with my daughter, and it was the most horrible camera quality, and it was real quick, choppy everywhere, and that thing got like freaking, I don't know, 1,500 views in like 3 days, and I was like, are you serious? But definitely, or hire, like I did, Star Camp Creative Labs, man. He helped me build my brand. He helped me build my story. He helped me get myself out there. He motivates me. And today we're recording. I had no idea. I really don't come with too many ideas. And he has stuff set up, questions ready to go, going live, and getting my brand out there. So if you can do it, StarCam Creative Labs, they can do it. They just came out with a very affordable package just to get you in the door, get you comfortable, and I highly suggest that you guys do that. Outreach, finding who needs a place to stay. How do you do outreach? Depending on the type of housing that you're doing, man, just go to Google and search it. If you're doing veteran homes, search veteran. Search the VA, search nonprofits that deal with veterans, nonprofits that deal with housing, do those different things. Like I was just in Texas, and we visited probably 3 homeless shelters. We visited the VA hospital. We toured a couple sober living homes, went by a behavioral health company, and we toured some nonprofits that help with housing. So definitely getting out there, networking, shaking hands, kissing babies, and seeing what is out there, seeing what the need is.
So I saw this in the interview with Mark Cuban, and someone asked him, because you have a hustler mentality, you're all about your grind, and the question was, if you had $500 in 6 months, how would you make as much money as possible?
Selling drugs. If I had $500, and like I have nothing, dropped in the middle of nowhere, do I have a house? What are we doing here?
We'll say no assets. All you got is $500 in a phone.
$500 in a phone? I mean, that's all you need is a phone. Somebody that's out there, I mean, you just go back to the Gary Vee garage sailing. I mean, realistically, if you had $500 and you needed to make more money, man, it would be going to Facebook Marketplace, seeing what is all free out there and trying to flip the free stuff. And then definitely real estate. Right now, there's people making hundreds of thousands of dollars just being the middleman. If you have the knowledge that somebody else doesn't have, you play the middleman. This person has a lot of money, and what do people with a lot of money? They want passive income, they want an investment, they need somewhere to put that money, but they don't have the time or knowledge how to source a deal. Go network with doctors, go network with all of these people that make good money, and give them the, hey, I'm your guy, I have access to real estate deals. And there's a Facebook group, Creative Finance, the free one. I think he said something like, I don't know, it was a crazy number. There was like, I don't know, 5,000 a day new members or whatever, but there's over like 120,000 people in this group, and all these guys do is post deals. And if you can play the middleman and find out what somebody else needs and what they're looking for, it would be pretty easy.
Dope. So let's talk more about sober livings. Do you feel like it's what's the word I'm looking for? Trendy to get into sober livings?
Sober livings right now, it is a hot topic in the real estate world, just because in the real estate industry, people, when they're looking for deals or looking for properties, they're looking for passive income of $200. And realistically, I've said this before, that is not really passive income. If something breaks, your property taxes, if you got a vacancy, that money that $200 passive is not really passive. And if you want to replace your W-2 job, I mean, you'd have to buy 20 houses or whatever the case is. So people right now are trying to figure out, how do I make more than $200 a month passive? And people like me are out there, pad splits out there, the co-livings, the Airbnbs, all of these other types of housing makes more money than regular rental income. So sober living is definitely a hot topic, especially for, I mean, even for landlords. When people are renting a sober living, they can demand, not for me, they can demand more money because you're running a business out of it, and people are willing to do so because it's hard to find a landlord that is willing to let them use their property for a business that has homeless addicts or whatever the case is. So right now, the hot topic is finding other ways to make money with their real estate. Like I mentioned, best of both worlds. You have an Airbnb, you have a group home, you have midterm rentals, nurses, people are doing insurance housing right now. When somebody's house burns down or something happens, their insurance company will pay for them to live in a place temporarily while their house is being fixed, which is good money. A midterm rental, I think Kevin Cho was he said he was going to gross or net $6,000 a month with a midterm which is like traveling nurses or corporate housing. Like you have these corporate execs or Amazon or Apple or Microsoft where these guys have to travel and they're opening up new facilities here. They're not moving here, but they need housing for 6 months. So those corporate housing is a good thing. So yes, sober living is a hot topic right now, but it's just because people are trying to figure out the best route to go outside of a long-term rental, which is horrible, by the way. You guys that are out there, please ask questions. We're just filming content, going live. Group homes, sober living homes, affordable housing, grants, multifamily, conversions, real estate, business. I own a bunch of businesses. Ask questions, guys.
So, kind of like a follow-up to that question, do you think that just any person can get involved in sober living, or do you think there's a certain type of person that should be leaning more towards that versus the other options?
Everybody sees the shiny object syndrome and they see money, and I've seen plenty of people fail that are trying to get into sober living just for the money. If they have a front person like me who's actually in AA and actually out here doing it and going to AA meetings and stuff like that, it could work if you have a front person that has a passion for it. But again, there is 100 different ways that you can go into the group home space. So if sober living is not your thing, then it's not your thing. But there's a lot of people that have had family die from it, or they've been affected by it, or they have dealt with it themselves, so they want to get in it. But if you're just getting in it for the money, there's a whole bunch of other directions that you can go where you might find a passion for it. So definitely your heart has to be in the right place, and or have the right person in the right place doing the things for you. But sober living isn't for everybody, man. You have to, I've been around drugs all my life, and people who are drug addicts, they're manipulative. They'll try to get over on you, and they'll try to fake the funk. So if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know what a person high looks like, if you don't know what drugs look like, or paraphernalia, or where to look when they're trying to hide these things, and be able to read through the bullshit and be able to have your filter on, man, you're going to get taken advantage of for sure.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like another follow-up to that. Let's say that like I decided to get involved in sober livings, but I myself am not sober, but my house is empty. I know you kind of touched on this, but how would I go about collecting leads and getting people into my house?
Into just sober living?
Yeah.
So sober living, I've dealt with a lot of people that don't have drug problems. They're fine. They're able to smoke. They're able to drink. They're able to microdose, or whatever the case is. They're not affected by it. But in order to fill up your sober living, reverse engineer it. Like where do sober people have to go? Detox. What else do sober people have to go? Is there something after detox? There's inpatient, there's outpatient, there's all of these different treatments, and that's where they go. Or, I mean, go to an AA meeting, go to a sober living, see where they came from. Like, hey, where did you guys come from? Like, where would you find me? While I was in Texas, I went and actually spoke at a meeting, but I went to a bunch of the AA meetings out there. Networking where sober people are, man. There are sober lounges, there are sober meeting halls, there's meetings, freaking thousands of meetings going on right this second. So going to AA meetings, going to detox facilities, talking to hospitals, talking to inpatient, outpatient facilities, going to other sober livings, and going to meetup.com. Meetup.com, look up sober events happening or near me or whatever. There's sober community, sober events, and then the majority, 90% of my entire business has come from Facebook. Facebook, man, there is Facebook sober pages out there. Here's a question. As an operator, when you lease a property, which is your preferred way to lease it? Set fee profit split or other. If it is me and I'm the operator, I don't want to split my profit with you, man. I want to, if I'm doing all of the work, me personally, it's just me. I'm a real estate investor. I get 20 properties sent to me every single day. I don't pay over regular market rent because people know I'm reliable. I'm going to pay, and they want to give me 10 houses knowing I'm going to pay for 10 houses rather than 10 people that might not pay them. But we do help people, JV with people that want to learn the business. So if you are a landlord, and you want to learn, we could do that. Or I could just operate it and hire somebody in that state, and we could split the profits that way. But me, I like set fee. If it's just me operating it and I'm looking for a property, I'm not splitting my profit with you.
When it comes to selecting properties, obviously there's certain qualifications, like number of houses, bathrooms, stuff like that. But is there anything else in particular that you look for? I know you talked about buy boxes before, but like, how do you determine your buy boxes?
So going into all these new markets, it's new. So I have a market analysis that I do on every property that is given to me. And that market analysis is how close is it to public transportation, grocery stores, AA meetings, and a bunch of other things. I want to see how close it is to those. All of these different types of housing, it doesn't matter which one it is, unless you're a high-end Beverly Hills or whatever type. 95% of my guys do not have vehicles. So either they're riding a bike, they're riding the bus, or whatever the case is. So you want to be close to public transportation. Some cities that I'm going into, there's actually government, or I don't even know what the heck you call it, but you call a number and they'll take you anywhere in the city for $4. And I was like, wow, that's convenient. But yeah, you just want to be close to some of those things. But again, you want to do what the area demands. And me, I know I'm telling you to find your passion, do all of these things. My passion is helping people, period, struggling with anything, any kind of addiction, struggle, or mental health, or whatever the case is. I've had experience in all of that. So now I can focus on many types of different houses. Just because I have just a plain passion for helping people. So I will also call the nonprofits and different things in the area to see what is needed in that area. See if there's a waiting list. See if there's government agencies that are willing to pay me for that area. See if there's vouchers. See if there's grants. See what is needed in a certain area. The ones that somebody gave me an address while I was at the mastermind, and I tried to do the walk score and to see how close it was to stuff. This address would not even pull up. I was like, is there a grocery store close? She's like, there's like a convenient store like 20 minutes away, and it was those houses probably won't work the greatest if it's really rural and very hard to get to stuff. Another thing is you want to be if you're doing sober living, the majority of these individuals, including myself, are felons. So you have to be close to jobs that are willing to hire felons. And I mean, I never had a problem getting a job, but a lot of restaurants, construction, landscaping, moving, hard labor jobs. And you'd be surprised, a lot of these corporate places now hire felons as well. So, Miss Melissa, I want to learn the biz. I don't know if I can learn it through Oxford House. I want to get a property and be hands-on, but I can't do it alone first time. I wouldn't learn anything. We're recorded. I'm not going to say that. Oxford is different than anything else out there. I would not follow the Oxford model. Even though they are the most successful in the world. They're in like 14 other countries. But they are an exception to the rule, and they They've been around since 1973. They have a lot of government backing to be able to do what they do. And if you want to learn the biz, partner with us, JV with us, message me on here. I can send you a form and you can fill out the information. But yeah, we would love to partner to help you on your first property, to show you how to properly do it, and then you can keep us along for the next one or go out on your own.
Continuing my line of questioning, so buy boxes and all that stuff. So let's say that I live in Scottsdale and I want to start a sober living. Should I start a sober living in Scottsdale?
Go with what you know, your circle of influence. Me, I come from Maryville. I was on state-funded insurance until freaking, I don't know, 5 years ago. So that was my demographic. That's where I grew up. Those are the people I grew up with. Those are the people I go to AA meetings with. So some of my stuff is lower state-funded type of deal. We're looking at more of the higher-end stuff. If that is your circle of influence and you know people in that area and you have connections in that area, you can demand a higher dollar. Obviously, it's going to be, your house is going to be more expensive in Scottsdale, so you can demand a higher rent per week. But then you have to realize the people that are paying that higher rent, that are used to Scottsdale, what are they accustomed to? What are they going to want in that house? One of my houses in Mesa, it's a really nice house. We have a movie theater, we have a jacuzzi, we have a pool, we have a pool table. It's a really nice home. You have to really cater to those higher end people and what they would be accustomed to. So if that's where you grew up, if that's your circle of influence, if that's the connections that you have, then definitely you can do it.
This comes down to like profit margin, though, right? Charging enough to make sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely you have to, whatever money you're trying to make, you definitely have to hit your number. But I mentioned I went to Beverly Hills and visited a guy out there. He has sober livings in mansions in Beverly Hills, and he's charging $6,000 a month per bed. And his houses are full. People pay it all day. My wife worked at a private insurance. This is insurance, but half of it had to come out of their own pocket, but it was like $20,000 a day. And they had private chef, they had a personal trainer, massage therapist, IV bar, oxygen bar, resort style backyards. And
do you see yourself like going towards that route of more like luxury and sober livings, or are you content?
I've been fooling around with the idea, especially some of these properties that people are presenting me. Somebody sent me something like 2 weeks ago. It was a 8-bedroom on the beach in California that he wanted to do a sober living. I was like, that would be pretty cool. There's a gentleman that I follow, Patrick Ridgway or Patrick, I forget his name now, but he has a few, it's called Graceland or something in California, and he's doing really well, and he's really well known and doing great things. But I have fooled around with it. I have looked at it. There is a potential. A buddy of mine, actually, he just texted me earlier, Robert. He's renting out one of his houses in Scottsdale that was a really nice Airbnb, but a treatment facility came in and said, hey, we want to do inpatient. They're paying him $20,000 a month for rent for this place. I was like, dang, it's pretty good.
What are, we talk about more the dark side of things here.
Oh, God.
What are some things about sober livings that you find difficult to manage, or like things that people don't necessarily think about when they start a sober living, in terms of like having enough toilet paper, I don't know, or having, you know what I'm saying, like this like small stuff that people don't quite think about?
Actually, a post went out yesterday. Guys, I'm going live. If you have questions, group homes, sober living homes, real estate, grant-funded group homes, whatever it is, please ask. Somebody yesterday put a post out, said, what kind of insurance should I have for my sober living? And somebody said, oh, just regular rental insurance. And to me, I'm like, what? Like, things you don't think about, people who don't know this industry get in here, people die. People die in sober livings. People overdose. I've had an overdose in one of my houses. The gentleman did pass away. And I know it happens to everybody. So those unforeseen things. So that's really hard to deal with, is somebody overdosing. Another thing right now is promise to pays. When you do sober livings, if you want to fill your house up fast, or if you're brand new and you want to get your awareness out there, there's a thing called promise to pay, and it sounds like exactly what it is. It's people promising to pay you. They have no job, they have no money, they have sometimes no experience. It's been a while. They've been homeless a while, and right now we're struggling with the promise to pay thing because it's running rampant here in Arizona. So I just hired somebody just to focus on the promise to pay guys, making sure these guys have jobs within the first week of living in our housing. So that one's a big one. What else? As long as you have a strong manager, a good structure, and a system in place, things run pretty smoothly. I'm trying to think back when I first started. Definitely having a strong manager. I had a weak manager, and he was letting everybody in the house do drugs, sell drugs, drink. Not a good thing.
Things like groceries and dishes, and how do you budget for that? How do you determine what houses need what?
We allocate $200 a month per property on supplies, and we've broken it down from how many people do they have in the house, how many this, how many that, but we don't go over that $200 mark per month per house. Try not to anyway, with prices keep going up and up. I went from 4-ply to 3-ply to 2-ply to 1-ply. But we don't provide food for these individuals unless they really, really need it. I am the president and founder of a nonprofit. So the nonprofit is able to provide food from the food pantry if they do need it. And we also provide food boxes to we provide food boxes to the community, but a lot of the people that come to our food pantry is through the sober community, sober living homes. All of these different homes come through. Budgeting. Another thing that's now that I'm going nationwide and have business partners and all of these things, sober livings is freaking 90% cash. When an individual comes to you and has $500 to pay you towards what they owe you, you don't want to tell that individual to go get a cashier's check or go get you whatever the heck it is, because you might not see that person again. So if they have the money in their hand ready to go, I'm ready to take it, because I might not see that person again. But just having to deal with all the cash and all the rents and all the pickups, I want to streamline this, and I'm talking with Venmo right now. Chime has an option, but we're trying to streamline the payment process. But yeah, supplies isn't really that bad because it's budgeted for $200. We don't provide a lot, more than everybody else, but not a lot. Guys, if you have questions, we're live. Please, group homes, sober living homes, affordable housing, co-living. What's your questions?
So, with recent events in the behavioral health community, there's been a rise of people on the streets and just people being displaced. How are you responding to that situation? Because it's kind of a big deal right now.
It is. Did you see Cass? They just cleared that out again.
I didn't see that.
Like a few months ago, they said they were going to clear those streets, and when we went there, it was cleared, but they were there again the next week. But a few pictures and a few people that I've seen, they completely cleaned the tent city down there right now. So that means that's just pushing them other places.
Well, they also got the World Series coming here too, so I bet that has a lot to do with it. Having backs in the World Series.
Yeah.
Make that area look clean. Didn't want no rich people walking around there.
The homeless situation, man, there's a lot of money out there, but then you run into city and state regulations that try to push against it, and it deters people away from even trying to do it. If they keep running into brick wall after brick wall after brick wall when they're just trying to help people, the government makes it as hard as possible to try to help these individuals. And then you got Steph Curry saying, not in my neighborhood. Is just like, people that are going against it and think that there's just bad stigma that comes from this. Like, people who want to be homeless and want to do drugs are not trying to find housing. They just want to go live off of the land and go do drugs. There's a lot of people that actually need a second chance. Again, with interest rates as high as they are, like, even me in 2019, if I was renting and didn't own, I wouldn't have been able to afford a place for my family, like 3 kids and 2 dogs and my wife and I. It's getting crazy. Even if you go to buy a house right now, something like $500,000 is roughly like $3,300 a month. It's like, that's crazy.
Do you think that the government should be doing more at this point, like our local government?
The government's putting a lot of money out there for incentives, but the way that the grant money works is people that have been doing nonprofits and grant work for years and years and years, they get all of the money. And if it goes to, well, we have a connection with them, we're alive. If it goes to some of these larger organizations, I mean, I think I seen a survey that said, like, Feed the Children and all of these, like, bigger ones, like 1% or 2% actually goes to nonprofits, but you're paying the board and all of these things, and it's the government relationships. And so it makes it hard for the people that actually have a heart for it, that want to do it. Government's making it really, really hard for you to do it, but they are dumping, I think, 20 million just went into Houston, Texas, and another 20 million went into Ohio. Somebody I know just got a $4 million grant to build or buy a 40-unit property as long as it's used for affordable housing. So another person I know, they're developing a bunch of land, and the state is giving them money to develop the land as long as they dedicate at least 50% of it to affordable housing, which is cool. They bought the land in a nonprofit, so they got all of the tax benefits from the nonprofit, and the state and the government's giving them money to build. They want to do something about it, but then they don't want to do something about it.
Do you feel that government should be more involved in the sober living home process, or less involved?
The government.
In terms of like regulation?
I don't want any more hands in my pot, any more directions. There's good to have regulations. You see what's going on in Arizona right now, and it's a lot of bad players. There's a lot of slumlords out there that will just pack these dudes in, not do anything for them, let them get high. As long as they're making money, they don't really care. So there has to be some type of regulations of sorts. But then I'm going to all of these other cities, and haven't found the problem or heard about a problem. I haven't seen the problem, but they're a lot more lenient in these other cities and in these other states. And it's really refreshing to see. But again, if there's no regulations, people are going to take advantage of it, and it might get out of hand.
So would you say that Arizona has stricter regulations versus other states?
So far, the strictest that I've seen. Yeah. I was told that California and Florida, I mean, they're the mecca of sober living and behavioral health. And I heard there's a ton of regulations. But lo and behold, we're going to be in Florida, the city that we're going to in Florida first. No regulations. Already met with the housing department, and they're saying, please come. California, a buddy, he's actually out here for Miss Vina Jetty's mastermind that she is holding. He's in Northern California. And I was like, oh God, man, isn't there a bunch of regulations? He's like, there's nothing. And we've already opened one, and we're about to open up 3 more. And I was like, Wow. So Arizona, by far, has been the most regulated, most strictest, most. And it's funny, the government, the state doesn't talk to the city doesn't talk to the state says you have to do this, the city says you have to do this. Just for instance, I was at the city of planning and development for Peoria and Glendale, and I'm training their people. I have to look up, show them things, and they still don't understand what the difference is between the houses. And it's just very frustrating.
So with all this moving nationwide, in these different states, do you see yourself staying in Arizona long term, or is this like a stepping stone to bigger, to that mansion in California or whatever?
I will never. I told myself I would never go to California and visit ever again. No, I don't. But I went to Beverly Hills, and that was a good experience. But I want to move very, very, very badly. Arizona, I think I have completed this level. I think I've conquered Arizona, and I do want to live next to a beach. My only holdback right now is my son has a girlfriend, so I'm pretty sure he wouldn't move. He's 18 though. And then my 14-year-old just got into freshman, which, I mean, I don't know. I really, really want to move though. I don't. Arizona is just not very supportive. Not very. It's just don't.
Well,
No more for
see where you
Arizona.
end up, huh? You said you wouldn't do California, but like, are you working in California at all? Like doing any type of business out there?
I am talking to a few people to help them JV and partner with them. I can enjoy California from afar. No, he lives up. I mean, there's different places. So the only reason that I told myself I would never go to California again is because we took a vacation to San Diego, got an Airbnb, we drove there, and we decided to we wanted to see the Hollywood stars. So we drove to Hollywood, which is 3 hours away, and we didn't find the stars. And then coming back, we were stuck in traffic. It took like 5 hours, and we were an hour away from our Airbnb, or a mile away, and it took an hour to go that mile. And they're so welcoming to the homeless. A dude just whipped his junk out and just peed right in front of us. The smells, it was in parking. We parked illegal every single day and didn't know if our vehicle would be there the next day, but there was no parking anywhere, so you had to park illegal. So I was just like, I'm never doing this again. This is horrible.
I mean, Arizona's a little bit better in those regards, but
For now.
with Arizona, what do you feel are the best things about having a sober living out here in Arizona? Are there any advantages to being out here in Arizona in terms of like the makeup of people, or the cost of living, or anything?
I've heard this from so many people, and it's kind of like our real estate community. Our sober community is 100 times better than everywhere else. It's the people that come together, the meetings, everybody kind of knows everybody, and the sobriety is very, very strong here, and the community is very, very strong here. I was just in Texas, and it took the 3 meetings that I went to. The first one I went to had like 15 people. They had me speak there. The other 2, I walked in, it was just one other lady, and I'm like, it's like 15 minutes before the meeting starts, and she's like, yeah, we're like a smaller group. And then I went to another one. Yeah, we're like a small group. And I'm just like, oh my God. And nobody knew. I was like, so where's the best place to go? Is there any meeting hall? And nobody really had any information. But from what I've heard from a lot of people who travel from other places to come here to get sober in Prescott and Sedona and all of these places, they said it's by far the best sobriety and best community that they have seen.
Yeah, that's true. I guess a lot of celebrities do come out here for treatment and stuff. Would you consider yourself a leader in the sobriety community out here, or something? Is that something you desire to be?
I'm gonna. So guys that are on here, please ask questions. Group homes, sober living homes, whatever. Massachusetts has a strong recovery community. Massachusetts. Ask your questions, please. I'm here. Open book, guys. So, shit. What'd you say? Celebrities.
Do you consider yourself a leader in the sober community out here?
So I do not consider myself a leader in the sober community out here. I've been sober for 10 years, but my wife and I, in the beginning, we were so good with each other. We went dry. We just didn't go to meetings. We stayed sober, but we stayed to each other. We lived life on life's terms. And then I realized that I was missing something I wasn't giving back. So I came back for a little bit, and then I left again. Went dry again, and then I came back. So it's on and off for me. And right now, I'm not a leader in the sober community. I am well known. I'm not out there doing circuit speaking. Circuit speaking is when you get asked to speak. It's actually two good people, Kobe Love and Rhonda Wright, are actually in Sweden right now. Speaking, giving their story, and they're traveling to London next. Circuit speaking.
Something you want to do? Or?
I don't think my story. If their stories are,
I mean, your story's pretty good.
their story is freaking like, and no. I'm going to be speaking on stages, giving my background, but it's going to be more geared towards where I came from. This is where you can go.
Sure. You got a question?
What are a few common unexpected situations that occur when starting a new sober living group home? A few common unexpected situations that occur when starting a new... got it. Common things, situations. Unexpected. So my very first sober living home, I interviewed him, got a manager. He fit the part, talked the talk. First week, my house was full. And then the next week, I called him. He didn't answer. I called him. He didn't answer. I come by the house. A guy opens up the door with a big old vodka bottle. And he was a big MMA, freaking tall, buff dude. And I'm like, oh, my God. The manager ended up taking all of the rent money with him. He cleared out the room of stuff that was not his. He let everybody sell drugs and do drugs in my house. So that was very unexpected. So definitely vet your managers a little bit more. Keep a little closer eye on them, and make sure that you have structure and rules in place. The requirement out here in Arizona, and what I like to stick by, is somebody who has a year of sobriety that is going to meetings and doing the deal. Other group homes, you just have to be careful, man. You're dealing with people with PTSD, people that have been homeless for a long time. You're dealing with a bunch of different personalities, and you have to know how to place certain people at certain areas. If this person doesn't click with this person, you'll kind of see their gestures towards them. You'll move them to a different room. And I do reentry. I get people fresh out of prison. You have 10 people that have been in prison 5+ years that have personalities and have been on the yard for a while. So there's a certain way you talk to those individuals. There's a certain way you handle those individuals. You need somebody that's able to shift and be able to handle those situations. Neighbors hate us most of the time, even though we stick to ourselves. We have rules and all of these things. But if you're in an older neighborhood, or if you have old neighbors that are retired, man, they have nothing better to do but to sit there and see people coming in and out of the door. Oh, here's this car pulling up. So neighbors are no fun sometimes. New sober living or group home. Yeah, that's what I can think of right now.
What about
Give it away to keep it. Your story is amazing. Oh my God, I'm dying.
HOAs?
Welcome. No. So guys, there is a thing out there. So yes, in some cities, they say that you have to get licensed to run a group home, to run a sober living home, to run these different types of housing. There is a federal law that supersedes state, city, HOA, it supersedes everything. The law is the Fair Housing Law and Disabilities Act. In that law, means you cannot discriminate against people from a protected class or people that are dealing with disabilities. Drug addicts are considered in that same act. People with mental illness, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, all of these different things, they're a protected class. So 90% of the world has something along these lines, if not more. So realistically, if the city comes and says you can't do that, if the state comes and says you can't do that, if HOA comes and says you can't do that, I have a pretty document of a few pages that, and a letter that I send to these individuals pointing out what the fair housing laws are and who they protect. And I do know a lawyer who practices in most states, and she has never lost when bringing up the fair housing laws against government agency, not government agencies, but state agencies, city agencies, and HOAs. So technically, I would suggest getting licensed just to not be at the top of their shit list and to be that asshole. But technically, fair housing laws protect us, and you could fight it and take it to court if you would like to. I have. Right now I'm dealing with it. And I sent that letter out to the city of Peoria and, city of Glendale. And they haven't called me back on that particular house. But like I said, I was at the city of Glendale yesterday and at the city of Peoria back to back, not fun. And they told me that I cannot run a sober living or a group home. And that is fine with me because I run all types of housing. I was like, okay, perfect. I'll run a boarding home. And in those two cities, they can't do anything if you're just renting out rooms. So we are going to be converting to boarding room or boarding home.
I have a question first from Melissa.
Do you disclose to neighbors that you are opening up the homes? I do not. I've tried that before and it doesn't work out because, again, neighbors are our worst enemies sometimes, most of the times. And I'm trying not to bring any extra attention to the houses that I am doing. I do know somebody who has great, he wants to kill them with kindness. So one of the chores are landscaping your front yard, and when you landscape your front yard, you're landscaping the neighbor's yard as well. So you're going to landscape their yards, you're going to freaking help them with groceries, you're going to bring in their trash cans for them, whatever you can do, kill them with kindness. But me personally, I stay away from neighbors because I tried that whole thing, and now they know exactly what they're doing, so they know exactly what to complain about, and I don't do it. When there is an HOA, do you inform them that you'll be running a home, or do you wait for them to reach out? Obviously, your CCNRs, guys, it tells you can't do a midterm, you can't do this, you can't do that. I wait. I wait for them to come mess with me because you're not doing anything wrong. According to the fair housing laws, it says I'm not doing anything wrong, so why do I need to state anything to the HOA? But again, in the beginning, I did not do this. I wanted to be Mr. Nice Guy. I didn't want to be at the top of anybody's shit list, so I played by the book, played by the rules. If they said no, I was like, okay, I'll go do it somewhere else. I actually have been turned down for 200 properties that didn't meet the spacing requirements here in Arizona, but now that I have more information and I don't mind being the asshole anymore, I don't tell the HOAs. I don't tell the HOAs. Let them reach out and then tell them to look up the fair housing law.
Have you dealt with like direct complaints from HOAs, like knocking on your door and being like, "What the hell's going on here?"
one of my properties, but they couldn't do anything when this particular one happened because an actual family. This is when we were doing the mommy and me family homes. Everybody was related in the house, so they really couldn't say anything. And they kind of just went away. But recently, I haven't had any HOAs recently. We did have recently, and this is where freaking neighbors come in. I forgot about this dang one. My good friend, investor, Zach Keeps, gave me a property. We had a group home in it. Awesome group home. I get a call from the police department, fire department, and the complaint was my back gate was open and I had a pool and it was an endangerment. I'm like, what is going on? So I had to call everybody at the house. Can you shut the gate? It's endangering people. And this mom was walking her kid to school every single day. And she looked up the properties and she put a complaint against my good friend and investor. She sent a letter to him. She sent a letter to his brokerage. She sent a letter to his title company. Said that there was a bunch of sex offenders. There was a bunch of drug addicts. And she was going to do anything and everything to shut this place down. We ended up finding a letter. One of my guys was walking home, seen a letter, picked it up. There was a letter that went out that she sent out to all the neighbors to let them know this is what they're doing. It's a bunch of sex offenders and drug addicts. We need to get them out of here. And my mentor pretty much said, bro, I don't need this. You don't need this. Let's stop this. Let's get rid of this one. I'll get you another one. And I was just like, freaking, let me get rid of her, please. She ended up looking my company up and seeing all of my houses. And she was about to put complaints in on all of them if we did not get out of that location. But yeah, guys, please ask questions. We're filming content, group homes, sober living homes, cooperative living, affordable housing, any type of housing, licensed, unlicensed, commercial, hotel conversions, multifamily. Ask your questions, y'all.
Another like 10 minutes or so at this point. We're at hour 6. So you mentioned converting a sober living into boarding.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that, I mean, how viable of an option is that to do that? To be like, hey, I'm just gonna make this a boarding house? Because essentially a boarding house is just a house, right? And does that not need permitting or anything like that, or?
So apparently not. So funny enough, when you go to get licensed, they ask you, do you make them, can they not do drugs or drink or do this or do that? In a regular lease agreement, it says you are not allowed to do any unlawful, illegal things in this house. So that's already in a regular lease agreement. I was doing extensive research yesterday on what to call this housing, how to get around this whole thing. And what we do, they're making me get a sober living license. But in the law, or what their wording of it is, somebody who is there pretty much like a 24/7 supervision type of thing. And that's not the case at any of my sober livings. I have a manager that people answer to and ask questions to, but he has a job. He has a 9 to 5 and he leaves and comes back. A boarding home is rent out by the room or rent out by the bed, and they still have a list of rules that they have to follow, and they have to be courteous to the other people living in the house. They get to use the shared space. Very similar to sober living. And within the lease, I have not a lease agreement, a licensing of the space agreement, because you don't want them to be tenants, because you don't want the landlord-tenant laws to come at you. So we have a leasing of space agreement, and they have to abide by rules. And in those rules, it says they can't do any illegal drugs, they can't drink, and there might be random UAs. And we could be asking them to leave. I mean, everything is the same, but you can't have what the city of Peoria and Glendale said yesterday. You can't provide supervision, medication, food, services, any type of care. And I'm not doing any of those. I'm not providing anything. The supervision is I have a supervisor or a property manager that lives on site.
Someone on Instagram, I'm sorry, on YouTube asked, where can you read the laws? I'm assuming they mean like
On YouTube. Laws.
just like sober living regulations, I imagine.
Every city, every state has their own regulations on different types of housing. So whatever city you're in, whatever state you're in, I would look up boarding homes in Cincinnati or sober living homes or veteran homes in Cincinnati and look up city and state regulations for those, because every single city is different. Even here in Arizona, every single city has different regulations, different requirements. And when you're going through inspections, city of Phoenix and city of Peoria, all of them have different things that you have to, they're not reading one book. And it's just frustrating because the city is different from the Department of Health, and the Department of Health is different from, it's very frustrating, and there's different cities and different laws everywhere. But the Fair Housing and Disabilities Act is a federal law that you can definitely look up. But again, yeah, every state is different. Where was I just at? I was looking up sober living in like Minnesota, and they haven't changed their zoning group. They haven't changed anything in their law since like 1972. I was like, bet.
Got Miguel on Instagram asking you about insurance.
What insurance do you use for your house? It's a requirement from the Department of Health Services to hold $1 million liability insurance with $100,000 or $300,000 aggregate. But me, I'm paranoid and I want to be extra safe. So I have a $1 million liability insurance and a $2 million umbrella on each and every one of my properties. And it can cost anywhere from $150 to $250 a month per property. I don't know what state you're in. What's his name? Warren Buffett. He actually has investments in group homes. He sees the value in group homes. He sees all of these things. And if you go to Berkshire, is it Hathaway or Hathaway?
Hathaway, yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway provides insurance for this. If you reach out to me, there's a NAYS code that you can use. It's for a boarding home where you can get a better price than saying it's a sober living or behavioral health home. Just call it a boarding home and you can get the insurance for it. But Berkshire Hathaway is nationwide. But if you're getting it licensed, since you're in California, look up the requirements, because you don't want to get too little and go try to, if you're trying to get licensed and trying to put in an application, there is probably going to be a requirement of some type of insurance, and you want to see what it requires for that type of licensing. But if you're going the unlicensed route, again, what's your risk tolerance? And again, sober livings, people die.
Got a comment from REI in Houston.
That's the one the CA? Oh, REI?
That was Miguel who asked you that question.
Oh, okay. REI. The place is very clean, newly furnished, and new appliances. Would you suggest that the operator put in place a cleaning schedule to keep it clean? Every single one of my houses, I have 10 guys in there, and surprising enough, I've had long-term tenants that really mess my house up, and I have to pay $13,000 to get it back to normal. My sober livings that I have look like the day that I got them. They're pristine. All 10 guys have daily chores that they have to complete. My managers do walkthroughs daily, and they have to make their bed. There's chores. All of my houses are completely pristine. And when I get a new landlord, I tell them you can stop by unannounced anytime you want, because I know what my houses look like. I know the routine that we have, but These guys, if it's a nice house, man, my houses, I went to go above and beyond. I wanted to provide something better than what I was provided. And so I went out to do it better than everybody else. All of my houses are completely remodeled, all brand new furniture, all brand new everything. And these guys, when you want to provide a community of people and something that they would be proud, that you would be proud to live in, it builds up their mindset. It builds up their confidence when they can come home and relax and have a home that they have pride in. These guys actually take pride in their homes. They thank you for the opportunity, and they keep things really, really clean. So,
Do you ever get like pushback on that? Like clients being like, I don't want to clean and that.
there's people that have to be reminded that you're supposed to wash a dish as soon as you're done using it. Some people throw them in the sink, or some people are, I mean, there's guys that have been homeless for fucking 5 years that you have to, you're training them. People that have been addicts for so long. So your managers do have to micromanage and be a parent there for a little bit and get them to remind them. But the people in the house also will remind them, because if your chore is the kitchen, there's a bunch of dishes, you're like,
Yeah.
nah, fam.
I mean, you just brought up a good point. The reacclimation process into society, because some of these people have been homeless on the streets for X amount of years, and they're trying to get their life back together. But it's just like, even like going to prison or going to jail, like when we put back into the world doesn't stop moving, right? It keeps going. And so do you offer or like kind of encourage people in that process of like getting back into society?
At my house is another thing that I do that other people don't. We really want to see these individuals succeed. We help them with resumes. We help them get their jobs. We have people that can come in and do the financial literacy. And with the program that we're taking nationwide, we are in the process of filming a bunch of mindset coaching. We have different financial people coming in, talking about credit, talking about how money really works. And then real estate professionals, entrepreneurs, people that are coming in, teaching these individuals. We also have vocational resources where we can send these people to trade school free of charge. It could be a welding class, a culinary class, a CDL, forklift, all of these different things. So as much resources as possible that you can have for these individuals that will make them succeed. And that's what we try to do. Somebody's goal was to get their driver's license back. He was waiting all of this time and things were struggling. And I was just like, bro, how much is your fee? I'll pay for it. Let's get you your driver's license. You promise to pay me back, right? Oh, yeah. We'll see if it happens. But we want to help these guys accomplish their goals, man. Show them what's possible. And that's why I like doing this social media stuff. I like putting myself out there. I like doing these events because, again, 3-time felon, high school dropout, drug addict, freaking homeless multiples of times. And now I am where I am.
You have a couple questions before asking.
Miguel, what type of lawyer do you use for your paperwork lease agreements? Rocket. No, I'm just kidding. A few people, the last agreement that I did, I just did a regular lease agreement. And then on the extra notes, I put in all of this stuff. But now I have a few, the licensing space agreement, somebody gave me, and a real estate lawyer for the leases. But it's nothing too special, man. You could probably go to ChatGPT or go online and look up these agreements. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. People have thousands, hundreds of thousands of these homes everywhere. Some clients get SSI, don't pay out of pocket. Do you need a license in order to accept these payments? If you're dealing with an organization or a facility that is ahead of the housing, in a sense, they want you to be licensed, but you don't have to be. If you go find your own people that are on SSI and SSDI on the street or wherever, but you do want to be, you want to use a third part. You can use yourself as a payee and money can go directly to you, or you can use a third party payee where if they do work or if they do have this, that the money goes to them. So you are guaranteed to get your money. But some organizations, some hospitals, some VAs that are dealing with individuals, or homeless shelters that have these guys on SSDI and SSI is they want to see you licensed in order for them to refer somebody to you. So you will get more clients in that demographic, in that area, if you are licensed. And if you want to, some of the government grants and agencies and vouchers that want you to be licensed, but I have found a few that don't need you to be licensed. As long as you're not providing services, you're just providing the housing, then you should be good.
You just mentioned when you were talking about the reacclimation thing that you'll refer people to vocational and trade programs so they can receive free training.
Mm-hmm.
How do you establish those relationships with those companies and those trade schools?
There's trades out there that need a lot of people. There's not enough workers out there right now, so there is programs they're willing to pay for these individuals to get training, to get them licensed, to get them out there in the field, just because there's such a lack of work. And just with me being a nonprofit and me going out there and just shaking the bushes, man, today St. Mary's called. And they were calling the Helping Hands number, and I'm like, why is St. Mary's calling? And we have a guy in one of our houses that he's going to go do their CDL class, and they're going to pay for him. $175 a week. They're going to pay for him. We just did an eco program, but there's a ton of them out there. Not a ton, but if you work with some of the agencies and industries, see who's hiring a lot, see who's doing these things. You can look up free work programs or grant programs or things along those lines. But we've been fortunate enough to find some of these programs. But they're everywhere. Lawyer, do you need some clients get SSI? Okay.
How would you, or what would you say are some of the top organizations to work with if you are in the sober living world? You mentioned St. Mary's.
Top organizations for jobs?
Just in general, that would help with resources, jobs.
Organizations. We don't really work with any, right? I mean, we work with some, but not every city and every state is going to be different. So you just want, again, to do your research and start meeting people. See where the largest companies are in that area. Where does everybody go, and start seeing what their needs are, see what they offer. When we were out, when I was just out in Dallas, we went to the VA, and then we were walking past the resource office. We walked into the resource office. Their whole thing was finding people jobs, helping them with jobs, vocational work, and all of those things. Vocational work is where, vocational training is where they train you, and they sometimes pay you or will pay for where you're living. So we stopped into the resource office. Human resources, homeless shelters deal with this. It's like their job is to help find housing, to help these guys find resources, to help them find jobs, to help them do all of those things, or DES, or Department of whatever the heck it's called where you're at. But look at these places that deal with government money and people that don't have jobs, and see what resources they have. I'm pretty sure DES wants more than anything to not have so many people on on food stamps and free government assistance. So they give them a lot of resources to help those individuals. So that would be a good place to go there, to see what resources they have. State government agencies that deal with this on a daily basis, that want people to do better or get off their government assistance.
Cool. We'll do a couple more questions. We're at a
we're almost done, guys. Any questions? There's
Hour 7.
hour.
23.
Goodness gracious. Sober living, group homes, anything out there, guys, you have questions about? Is lawn maintenance part of the 10-inch chores? It can be. Out here in Arizona, we don't have lawns, so, but no, I do have guys that are weed whacking, that are picking, whatever they're called. What the hell do you pull from the grass that you don't want there? Weeds, good God. Pulling weeds, doing rocks, sweeping. So yes, lawn maintenance can definitely be a part of that. And if you want to think big, there's a company out here that is a sober living. They have, I don't know, they have like 3 old motels, and what these guys did, they were like, what do we spend a lot of money on? They created, and they had a lot of labor, they created a temp agency, so companies use them and their people to go work. They created a landscaping company, they created an oil tire shop, an AC company, all of the things that they spent a lot of money on, they went out and created it themselves because they had 3, 4, 5 motels of a bunch of people coming out of prison that had no jobs. So they created jobs for these individuals that were hard labor, that they spent a lot of money on. So, but yes, that could, their chores could be anything that you pretty much tell them within reason. But yes, I have a few guys.
This question's on YouTube. You kind of already answered this, but what's the biggest challenge you faced when getting started with a sober living?
Not knowing what I don't know. Again, guys, I hired a manager. The house was full within a week. Everything was rainbows and unicorns. And then the next week I call him to pick up rent. He doesn't pick up my call. And then I show up, a big MMA muscle dude, big vodka bottle answers the door. Manager's gone. He took all of my rent. He took my furniture in the room, and he was letting everybody do drugs and sell drugs and drink on the property. And that was my second week in of owning a sober living home. And then I got another manager in. This is February of 2020. COVID happened. I lost my restaurant job. Everybody in the house lost their job. And I borrowed money for this first month for this first property. And I prayed to God, said, show me a way. I'm not kicking these guys out. Let's do something. And they all ended up going to the temp agency around the corner and all got hired at Amazon. Everything was good. But that was definitely like, oh my God, what do I do? So definitely having systems and processes in place, having good structure, having good rules, and having a good house manager is definitely a need and definitely a plus. When you rent your property, do you give landlord a rent agreement or do you use their agreement? When you rent your property, do you give a landlord... when a landlord rents their property, or when I rent my property out to somebody else?
Do you give landlord a rent agreement, or do you use their agreement? I think they're asking if you go and get a property from a landlord. Do you use their agreement, or do you...
So when you're doing a group home, sober living home, whatever the case is, you can't try to skate around the fact that that's what you're going to be doing, because a lot of places make you do that, and you don't want it to be a surprise. Don't be scummy and don't tell them what you're doing. So as long as you tell them what you're doing and they agree to it, it's whatever lease they want to use. All of my investors, they just give me a regular lease agreement. And in the extra notes, it says that landlord or owner will allow a group home or a sober living home within this premise. But then if I'm the landlord and I'm the home owner and I'm renting out to another group home, I put a whole bunch of extra stuff in there just because I can. Like I'm not liable for anybody within this house, that you're required to get all of the city and state licensing that is required for this type of housing. I have no liability. You're waiving all liability on me. You have to take care of all of the maintenance up to a certain amount. And a few other things in there, but my landlords who rent to me just use a regular lease agreement, but then when I'm renting to somebody else, I do a lot of extras in there just to protect me even further. Any other questions, guys? Do you ever hire any of them to do work for you? So, oh my God, yes. Right now, like I mentioned, promise to pay. Guys who are coming in that have no money, no job, no nothing. I have a lot of them right now. And a lot of these guys have trades and know how to do stuff. So once they get to $400, they get put on a payment contract if they owe $400. And if they get to $600, they get kicked out of the house. So in order for them not to get kicked out of the house to that $600, hey, do you want to do some work for me? And yes, I hire my guys all the time. Oh my goodness. Your daughter just sent this and said that she found you on YouTube. My daughter's watching me on YouTube right now. Wow. Love you, Elias, if you're watching. Love you, baby girl. That's awesome. That's my girl.
We can start wrapping it up. You want to talk about mixer? Anything else you got coming up? Call to action.
Real quick, would a property with a pool be a bad idea for these living situations? The more amenities you get, the fuller the house stays. The houses that have pools stay the fullest. I do pay a little bit extra for my insurance on those properties because they have pools, and then on top of that, you have the pool maintenance. It's like $150 a month, so there's just extra cost. There is extra liability, but it is an amenity that is very useful out here in Arizona, since we only have like 2 weeks of fall, then it's summer the rest of the year. So definitely great to have pools out here. They do require a fence around them and self-latching and all of these different things. When are you starting your course? We've already written it out. We've shot a few videos, but realistically, I have no idea with all the other stuff that I got going on. Again, if I can get interest of 5 people and up that all want mentoring or all want coaching, I will get with my team and see what the price would be on that. But if I get enough interest, then I can do a group coaching. Is there a minimum bed count you recommend for a property? It depends on city and state regulations. Out here in Arizona, you can only have 10. If you go over the 10, then you have to get fire sprinklers. I'm also doing a lot of stuff in Texas. I could have 15 people in there. It's the ratio that you can put 3 to a room. So I have had 20 people in a house. That was kind of rough. We had to order like 2 extra trash cans, all of these different personalities, bigger water heaters, all of these different things. And it made great money, but it was a big ass house. It's a 9-bedroom house, like 5,000 square feet. So it was like, okay. But depending on the type of housing you're doing, man, 10 does get kind of hectic in the beginning, especially if you're dealing with SMI or veterans or PTSD and stuff like that. All right, guys, anything else? I'm almost out. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all those questions. We'll go live in a couple weeks. We are having a real estate mixer on the 13th here at StarCamp Creative Labs here in Arizona. And then what else do I got going on? we have a lot of cool stuff coming, man. I have apps being built. I have software being built. I have a lot of automation stuff being built, a CRM system that's going to streamline everything. We are about to take the group home game over and streamline it and make it easy for everyone. And I'm very excited for that, guys. So I appreciate you. Phone's about to die. Aaliyah, if you're there, I love you, baby. And I hope you guys have a beautiful, blessed day. Do I share that?